That's a good thing. Normally we used to have trouble recording from anybody, but yeah, because what we'll do is we put it onto the YouTube on the West Yorkshire Partnership channel, so we can share it wider afterwards then, which is helpful. Okay, so welcome everybody. Welcome to our West Yorkshire NED Talks, which is our Neurodiversity Education Talks. This is a forum for all people across West Yorkshire, so it's open to all sectors and people with lived experience join. And we have every month we have a different topic. So this month, Lisa's coming to join us to talk about LEDer, which is about learning from lives and deaths for people with a learning disability and autistic people. I'd like to remind everybody that, please this is talking about inequalities and death, which is a sensitive subject. So please, look after yourselves, use your networks afterwards if you feel affected by that. Please be mindful of the language that you use around that. We will spend the second half of the session as a discussion point and questions, which is really useful for people to share. But obviously, do what information you're sharing, own that information, and be mindful of that. I'm presuming, Lisa, you okay to share your own slides when we start?
I'd said I'll share them for Lisa.
Oh, yeah. You share, right? Okay,
yeah, I can't share. Sorry.
That's fine. And then if people can use the chat function to ask questions, and we'll try and capture those to let you know what they are after you've presented, Lisa, because it's a lot to. Well, don't worry about doing that in between. And then we'll stop the recording and go over to questions. So if people want to introduce yourselves in the chat, it's an opportunity to connect outside of this meeting and network. We won't have time to go around and do that verbally today. But is there anything that I've missed, Rhiannon, before we hand over to Lisa?
No, I don't think so. Just that we stop recording after Lisa's finished talking, so people can ask questions and sort of keep their anonymity a bit. And I just ask that sort of as Lisa's talking, if you do ask any questions that you can't possibly hold on to, please try not to kind of say anything personal or anything like that, just so we can still use the recording. Lisa, you've got your hand up. Is that like a...
Yeah, just to double check, just to double check before I start, because there's quite a few links within the presentation, and I didn't know if we were using the videos or we're just allowing people to sort of access those links if they choose afterwards.
Up to you.
Okay.
We send out a presentation afterwards anyway, so if you do miss anything, people can catch up with it.
All right. Okay. Thank you.
Okay, so I'll hand over to you, Lisa. Thank you.
Thank you, Shelley. It's nice to be able to join you all today. Thank you to Shelley and Rhiannon for allowing this session to cover LEDer. I'm very grateful for that. I'll just wait for the slides to come up. Thank you. Is it all right to make it bigger, Rhiannon? So we don't, yeah. So I'll just introduce myself while Rhiannon's just getting the slideshow ready. So my name's Lisa McCabe. I'm the local area contact for West Yorkshire ICB LEDer programme. As Shelley said, that's about learning from the lives and deaths of people with a learning disability and or autistic people. So I'm the point of contact between the ICB and NHS England. Is it not playing along, Rhiannon?
Oh, can you not see it? I can see it.
Oh, I can see, but I can see the slides down the left-hand side as well.
Oh, can you? It's in presentation mode for me.
All right.
What about everyone else?
It's still in slide and it still says enable editing. Have you?
Oh, I don't know why it's now.
Not yet.
Maybe close it and bring it back up. I don't know. Might have stalled.
Yeah, let me try again. Sorry, everyone.
No, it's all right. Thank you.
Right, what can you see now?
So just the same, we've got sort of slide deck down the left-hand side.
I wonder if I share screen rather than window. Bear with me.
It's all right. Just makes it a bit easier, doesn't it, to see one slide at a time. That's the same.
Right, it should.
And if not, Rhiannon, send them to me and yeah, that's better.
Yes,
Good.
lovely.
All right, just tell me when you don't want the next one. So, right.
Yeah, we'll go. That's great. We'll start with that. Thank you very much. So really, this presentation is just about raising awareness for the LeDer national programme, to promote understanding of the referral process so that people feel informed and confident to refer in, which we hope will support the increase of notifications coming into LeDer, particularly for people with a diagnosis of autism. This will enhance the richness of the data and the information that is pulled out to be able to hopefully positively improve the experiences of other people in the future that are accessing sort of health and social care support, and to encourage participation in the reviews as well. So the family are always invited, where possible, to be involved in the reviews. And this is to provide an opportunity to address any queries that anybody may have about the programme. Next slide, thanks, Rihanna. So just going back to basics on what LeDer is. So it was established in 2017, and it's funded by NHS England. As I say, it's a national programme. It's the first of its kind, and it came after the confidential inquiries looking into premature deaths of people with a learning disability. That's how it was sort of founded. In February 2022, there was an update from NHS England, and LeDer was also include people with a diagnosis of autism. So there's two criteria. So there's a criteria of autism only, but also a dual diagnosis of a learning disability and autism, now have a LeDer review completed. So it looks at key episodes of health and social care. It's really important to say it's not an investigation, and it doesn't look at all aspects of care that a person had in their lives. So some people that live across West Yorkshire have, really complex health needs, have multiple long-term health conditions, so that you would be under several sort of services to support your needs. So that is a bit of a limitation. It's important to mention that LeDer doesn't sort of contact everybody involved because it isn't able to. So the reviewers will pick out sort of key people to gather information from when completing a review. So the aim is to look at service improvement and quality. So the examples from learning are gathered by NHS England. They're fed back in on a quarterly basis. They're shared sort of regionally and nationally to improve outcomes for people, and the ultimate aim is to stop people dying younger than the general population. Reduce and improve, it says down there at the bottom, and then that's just a link to the updated policy if anybody wanted to have a little look further into LeDer. Next slide, thank you, Rihanna. So this is a video. I'm not sure if it will work. We could give it a go. It's not a very long video. So this is an introduction to LeDer from Dr. Roger Banks from NHS England's. He's the National Clinical Director for Learning Disabilities and Autism. So we'll see if it works for us. But if not, it's something that people can go back to and have a little look should they choose. Oh, it's working.
Is it? What does it sound like though, don't they? Have this advert first.
Oh, it's the adverts, isn't it? Let's see if we've got sound. No, I can't hear it. I don't know if anybody else can.
No, you often have to press something with sound on the slide. Sorry, Rhiannon.
I think maybe we'll skip this because I will screw it up.
No, that's fine. Yeah, yeah, it's there. It's there as a resource if anybody wants to have a little look.
Oh God, stop it! Stop.
Thank you.
Let me get back to where we were, but now I can't find it. Sorry, I'm going to have to go back to the old.
No, don't worry. I think Teams should have sort of a little button you could press for that bit of music.
You know, if anyone wants to orally do that.
Seems it could just be easy. It could just do it all for you without us having to have all these tech.
I know.
Tech
Yeah.
challenges.
It is quite challenging. Lovely. We're back on the slides. Yep, that's one.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, thank you so much. So just a little bit of insight into who does what in LeDer. So let's jump to the next one, Rihanna. Sorry. I want to just go back a slide. That's it. Lovely, thank you. So local integrated care boards, ICBs as they are now, are responsible for carrying out LeDer reviews. And that's all 42 ICBs nationally all have responsibility for LeDer for their organisations. Previously to that, it was managed quite differently in different place-based commissioning CCGs. So the responsibilities are to help improve the quality of services for people with learning disabilities and autistic people, to reduce health inequalities and reduce people with learning disabilities and autistic people from dying earlier than the general public. That's sort of the ultimate aim and responsibility. Next slide, thanks Rihanna. So this was taken from NHS England's website, and it's just a guidance around reporting. So it's really important when we're trying to raise awareness about LeDer is some insight into what's required to do a notification. So this tells us that it takes around 15 minutes to complete. So it's really helpful to sort of have that information before you set some time aside to complete, and a little bit of an insight as to the key information that's asked of the person doing a notification. And then that's just another link there if anybody wants to access the LeDer report online. Thank you. And again, this is a link direct to the national programme. And also the second one is a link to the questions asked. So again, if anybody was sort of considering if it's part of your role or you just wanted a bit more information, that actually will take you so you have sight of all the questions that are asked on a notification. Next slide, thank you.
Just so you know, I've just forwarded these slides to Shelley via my phone, so she can put the links in the chat if that would be helpful.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. So it's really important to just highlight the data protection for LeDer. It can cause some anxieties for some people not knowing whether they should do a notification in without contacting the family and gaining consent, which is understandable given the nature of the programme. But this is just to sort of give that assurance and awareness that there is what is classed as a Section 251. So that's an information sharing agreement that NHS England have in place, where it means family don't need to consent. And it's really clear in the LeDer policy how we all utilise the information, and every review is anonymised. When a notification is made, LeDer, the national programme, will generate a code for that person. So when we're talking about cases, we only would ever refer to the number. We don't use anybody's name. They have to be completely anonymised when we're holding panels and discussing cases for that data protection, and to make sure that we work in line with that Section 251 agreement. So this allows us to sort of request GP information or health and social care information across our systems because it's covered by this agreement. Next slide, thank you, Rihanna. So involving family, it's really important, and reviewers do everything that they can to contact a next of kin once we receive a notification. All families are expected by NHS England to be, every attempt made to contact family members and invite them to be involved, to tell them what LeDer is and the aims of LeDer, and handle that in obviously a really sensitive way, and where families are happy to be involved and talk about their loved ones. It really increases the richness of the information in a review. There's a section called a pen portrait, so it's really lovely when it portrays the life of that person, and you can see that they've had a happy life, and it's their likes, their communications, the services that were involved to support them. So it's really lovely where family are able to be contacted and are happy to participate, and it really adds value to the reviews. And then if family want to receive sort of a summary once the review's completed, then that is offered to them as well. Next slide, thank you. Sorry, so there's two types of LeDer reviews. So everybody that is notified in would receive an initial review. That's a bit of a triage to see if there's anything sort of concerning that might show up, or any gaps in services, if there's any sort of evidence that there's some learning to be had from the information that the reviewer sourced. So that's just a little bit of a breakdown about sort of, as I said, speaking to family, conversations or access to GP information, and a conversation with at least one other person involved. And if a person lived in sort of a care provision, then that would be an ideal place for the reviewer to make contact, or if they had sort of community service involved or social care involvement. And then a decision would be made whether to progress to a more detailed review. So again, that takes you to the template for an initial review, so you can actually see the structure of a review and all the sections and what's included and what's looked for in an initial review. Next slide, thank you. So focused reviews say a little bit more in depth, and we've got a set criteria that we have to work to from NHS England. So that just sets out where we have to go straight to a focused review for people that fall into those categories. Within the ICB, we've included some additional criteria. So when people have a diagnosis of autism only, NHS England request that we automatically do a focus review. So we've made the decision where people have a diagnosis of both learning disability and autism to also do a focus review. So the hope is that this would give an insight in diagnostic overshadowing, to hopefully help us be better informed if the right services have been involved to meet the holistic needs of that individual. So that was the idea behind introducing that dual diagnosis also for a focus review. And then the transition period between 18 and 25 as well, to have a focus review automatically. And that family members can also request, we have that quite regularly really, that they would like a more detailed review of their loved one. So that's something that we honour and do a focus review where we're in that situation. And again, that link below would just take you to have a look at a focus review template, so you can see the additional information that's sourced to complete a focused review. Next slide, thank you. Oh, any questions? I'll go back to that previous. So just to say, a focused review, part of that process is we take those cases to a panel where there's learning identified, and there isn't always learning. Quite often there's just really good practice that comes through, but when we do have learning, they then are presented at a governance panel for focused reviews, and we have 3 across West Yorkshire. We have one for Leeds, that obviously covers people that lived in Leeds, one for Bradford, and then we've got a combined, because of the boundaries in the sharing of multiple services, for Kirklees, Calderdale and Wakefield. They have a combined panel, and then that's where we look at the reviews. Everybody on the members of the panel look at the reviews, and the decision is made, what actions, if any, are taken forward, and then they generate amazing examples of work to address health inequalities for people that are living in their area. So just to mention where that process sort of leads into wider ICB work. Thank you. That's the end of the presentation. I'll put my camera back on.
So just before we stop recording, can I ask who is on those panels?
Yeah, so a mixture of people are on the panel. So we've got sort of a place lead for leader in the 5 places. So they'd be there. We have leads from our acute providers. We might have sort of community, learning disability teams that attend. We've got strategic health facilitators that regularly attend. It could be GP with a special interest in learning disability or autism. They're quite varied. Primary care. So yeah, they are quite varied depending on the panels, but the invites go out to make sure we've sort of got representation from our key services for all of those panels. And then we have expert by experience or advocacy groups also attending.
That's great, thank you. Okay, should we stop recording and go to questions, do we think? Okay, so, and I know it's really difficult, isn't it, because